Steve-O is in damage control after ruining his career. Let's do podcast cringe Steve-O. Let's do podcast cringe Steve-O.
I was just kind of printing money, like selling merch like crazy, and like everything was just going so well. A point after that where I felt like, man, the internet turned on me. When I see a negative
one second, I've got to close the window. One second, I've got to close the window.
Comment about me, if I agree with it, then it really bothers me, and I got to do something about it,
The problem with the internet is it's overwhelming. It's too many voices,
right?
Too many different people. That's why I would never recommend for a person like you to even read the comments.
Right. What I did.
No, Rogan, don't get any feedback. Just keep talking your nonsense. Don't listen to any of the feedback. Don't listen to any of the feedback from the fans. The fans know nothing. They're all stupid and they're beneath you. Rogan's attitude towards comments is really funny. It's almost like he thinks commentators are like beneath him, innit? Like, there's no point listening to them. They don't know what they're talking about. You're the entertainer, which maybe is the best. Maybe that is the right way to go about things. Because he can't really handle feedback anyway, to be fair. He gets quite defensive, but I do find it really odd. There's no utility, no use whatsoever in listening to fans. Just do your own thing. Focus on you. You are always right.
Do you have a dick tattooed on your right eyebrow? Is that what that is?
That's exactly.
How long do you have to keep that for?
I don't have to keep it for any amount of time, but
it's not a bet or anything.
I mean, it is a bet how long I last before I get lasered off.
Oh,
but I've been doing really well with it. And
it's not even a good dick. It's like a weird dick, like a banana dick.
It was done by Post Malone.
Oh, well, it makes it even better.
But I was very shocked when I got it that my life didn't really change a whole lot.
Yeah, it's you.
Steve-O went on JRE this week. He's basically in full damage control at this point. Here we have yet another Rogan-adjacent character who's in the process of Brendan Schaubing themselves. And I think that exchange I just played for you about the dick tattoo on his forehead pretty much tells you everything you need to know about where Steve-O's career is at right now. This is a 50-year-old man who got Post Malone to tattoo a banana-shaped penis on his face, genuinely expecting it to change his life, and then he was shocked when his life carried on exactly as it was before. But for those of you who don't know, Steve-O recently won the Mr. Beast Celebrity Challenge in January, and by his own admission, after his career peaked in 2022, he was surprised at just how much nobody gave a flying fuck that he won a challenge with over 100 million views. He seriously thought it was going to give his career a third leg. Pause.
I don't know, like... this must be kind of a shit, because you feel like I see a lot of Brian Callen in Steve-O. This desire to like rekindle, restart, to catch another buzz, to catch another wave, And it's like, I don't know what, like this must suck if you're the type of people who can never be satisfied at your run. You can never look back and think, wow, I had a good run. And then just be thankful that you still don't have to work a regular job and that you could get to entertain people, have fun. But people like Steve-O, people like Brian Callen, like they want to be stars again. Like they want to have a big moment in the limelight, in mainstream. It's like, it's never going to happen. You're too old. The industry really, to be honest, mostly rewards youth, right? Rewards youth, rewards new energy. They're too old. Like, you're never going to have another pop again like that. Like, Steve-O's never going to recapture the magic or the attention that he got when he was on Jackass. Never. But you were on Jackass. You were on one of the most important shows, maybe, in TV history. You contributed to it. You definitely inspired a bunch of people. That should be good enough. You should be happy with that. You should be content. But nah, he wants to replicate that again. Like, it's never going to happen, bro. It really isn't. Like, just be happy that you are still able to make money and make a living and look after yourself through your quote-unquote God-given talent of being funny and being entertaining. You don't have to fucking work in an office or bagging groceries somewhere, but it's never enough. They never satisfy people like this, which must be quite a depressing and miserable life. Despite all the money, despite all the success they have, day to day, they must be pretty miserable because they kind of want to be Matt Rife, They want to have like a Matt Rife moment now. It's like, brother, Matt Rife is having his moment because he's fucking young and he's coming up new. You guys are old and you've had your moment. Just enjoy your career now.
but then started complaining to Rogan about how nothing's really changed. In fact, things have actually gotten worse for him since then. Just last month, he had Harland Williams on his Wild Ride podcast, and in his never-ending quest to be an edgy 50-year-old, he tried to give a hot take on the ICE killings, which totally backfired. I mean, even Harland was like, what the fuck, dude, what are you talking about? So making an appearance on JRE and Kill Tony as well, by the way, completely makes sense. There's a very specific type of guest that ends up on JRE these days. It's the place to go to when your reputation needs rehabilitation.
To be fair, given how irrelevant and ice cold Steve-O is, it's quite a good booking that he went on fucking Rogan. Not gonna lie. Given how utterly irrelevant Steve-O is in general, it's actually pretty good that he managed to get on Rogan. Because I thought they had not they had a falling out, but I thought something happened between them anyway. Maybe I'm mistaken. Didn't something happen between them? And maybe Rogan wasn't happy about something. I don't know. I felt like something happened. But yeah, the fact that he was on there anyway, he should be thankful. You know what I mean? That he still got enough pull, enough of a good relationship with Rogan that he can, you know, get a little appearance on there. But for him, he's not satisfied. He wants more.
Or you need Rogan's public approval to sleep at night. Joe Rogan's podcast has quietly become the most expensive therapy couch in podcasting, and Steve-O's episode is a perfect example of that. So,
you're a big black American. Had they have grown up or matured in their craft and diversified their talent, they would have stayed irrelevant to the general. Yeah, that's true, because that's a very good point, black American, because again, I'm not too familiar with Jackass, but wasn't there a period where people were getting like tired of Steve-O because he kept trying to replicate or one up the things he did on Jackass? Wasn't there a moment where he was like still trying to run that Jackass persona into the ground? He didn't move on, like he's moved on, I think, fully from it, but there was a period in the past where he was still trying to hold on, still trying to rekindle, still trying to make that a thing, and people were like, okay, enough of Jackass, we get it, please move on. Not another fucking prank of you stapling your balls, you know what I mean? Yeah, he needs to hang out with Apocalypse. He's just not a draw anymore. It's like, which is not a bad thing either. I don't think it's like everyone has their moment in the sun. Not being a draw anymore isn't a bad indictment on you. It just means you're not a draw anymore. You were a draw at one point, now you're not. Enjoy what you still have. I think if you're an entertainer, if you're someone in the entertainment industry, I think the win is always you don't have a regular job. I think the win and the success is always, I don't have to work a regular job. That should always be your main aim. Anything else is a bonus, because I think if you're a real creative entertainer person, you probably really struggle in like a very structured, a very quote unquote, dare I say, normie atmosphere. You're going to struggle. So if you can just survive, if you can pay for yourself, if you can kind of look after yourself through your talent, through your craft, through your art, you should be happy with that. Everything else is a bonus. But for these guys, it's not enough. Like, that's probably why there's so much bitchiness and like backstabbing and cattiness and talking to each other's back in comedy. Because I don't know what it is about comedians. I feel like comedians are even worse than actors. I feel like comedians are very, very like, they're very kind of like jealous and envious of each other, more so than any other fucking profession. Like they're never satisfied. If one person does a fucking arena world tour, someone wants to do a fucking stadiums and whatever, like it's just never enough. They're always comparing each other. Always. They're never content.
Stick around, because I'm going to take you through exactly what happened with all the cringiest moments. And honestly, this episode had way too many to choose from. But make sure you check out the link to my Patreon in the description below. I just dropped a 48-minute documentary covering Korea peaked in 2022, not 2002.
Man, dude, I was on high the year of 2022. Like, we had our Jackass movie in theaters, #1. The big, like, you know, my profile was all, you know, like, the world just opened up from the pandemic. Everybody had stimulus money, and they were just revenge spending. Everyone wanted to go out to shows, and there were no interest.
Fucking hell, man. What a horrible life. You're reminiscing on 2022. Has life gone really that bad? You're reminiscing on 2022. Come on, Steve-O, man. Jesus Christ. That's why people say money can't buy happiness, isn't it? He's made millions. He's made millions essentially putting his body on the line for the entertainment of us, right? For the sake of our entertainment, he's made millions putting his body on the line. Like, how far did you think it was gonna go? How long do you think it was gonna last? Let's be real. Come on, Steve. All you did was like crazy stunts. But do you really think it was gonna be something that you could do forever and ever and ever? Like, if anything, he should be happy that he had a moment in the sun, you know? Like, god damn it, reminiscing about 2022 is wild. That must mean day to day he's really not happy.
Rates, money was free. It was just like a perfect storm for me to have the most successful year of my life. I was just kind of printing money, you know, like selling merch like crazy, and like everything was just going so well. I don't know if maybe like you become more successful and like people get angry at you, you know, a point after that where I felt like, man, the internet turned on me. People saying that all I do is promote merch, you know, like there's a bunch of different stuff. 2024, 2025, like very mindfully addressing the criticism with which I agreed. And I felt like I made like really good progress repairing my reputation, even though maybe I didn't even need to.
I don't think you needed to.
But maybe not.
So this whole conversation literally started 40 seconds into the podcast.
Jesus
Bro
Christ.
came with one message and only had one thing on his mind. He was after that Joe Rogan bump, which unfortunately doesn't really exist anymore. I mean, Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen are two of the most frequent guests in JRE history, and they've been relegated to a storage unit in...
They probably are the ones that rinsed it, innit? They're probably the ones who rinsed it. They rinsed it. They're probably the ones who fucking rinsed it. The Joe Rogan bump did exist, but Brian and Brendan probably rinsed it. All the fight companions, all the individual appearances, the appearances together, they rinsed it. And after, because I remember early on, this is really early T-Fat-K Law, when Brendan used to first go on Rogan, the first couple of appearances, people used to actually say, like Rogan fans used to actually like him. Like, I don't get why he gets all the hate. He's actually quite funny. In the beginning, when Brendan first went on Rogan, the Rogan fans actually liked Brendan. Like, oh, he's actually kind of funny. I don't get why he gets all this hate. I like their chemistry between Brendan and Rogan. But then obviously over time, because he kept too much exposure, right? He kept getting booked on there too fucking often. Soon the Rogan fans turned on him as well. Like, oh my god, not this fucking guy again. Not this fucking parrot. Not this guy again. And it quickly changed. So I think Brendan and Brian may have inadvertently played a role in kind of taking away whatever influence, sucking out whatever influence or whatever thing that was happening when it came to the Rogan bump, because the Rogan bump got overused on them.
The middle of nowhere to record a podcast that nobody listens to. Actually, I think they're moving from the storage unit into another place soon. Oh, and Brendan's getting sued by his former baddie wrangler, and he's also getting sued for breaking his lease back in LA when he moved to Austin. Oh, and he's also still being sued by a former business associate for selling shares he allegedly didn't own. And it's looking like Podcast One isn't going to renew his commercial agreement later this year. Yeah, so about that Rogan bump, huh? Anyway, Steve-O sits down with...
That also explains why Brendan is now recording like 3 episodes of Schaub Show a week. We get 3 episodes, so he's basically doing 5 days a week. He's basically doing 5 days. He's recording 3 episodes of Schaub Show, 2 episodes of fucking Fire and the Kid, plus the Patreon. He's actually working really hard now. Schaub, for once, is actually working really fucking hard.
With Rogan and opens up about what he calls the best year of his life, 2022. Jackass Forever was #1 at the box office. He was selling merch like crazy. The world had just come out of the pandemic with stimulus money and nobody had anywhere to spend it. By his own account, he was making more than double his next best year ever. And then the internet turned on him. People started calling him out for over-promoting his merch, being a shill, overexposing himself. And here's the thing. Steve-O agrees with it. He took the criticism on board and thought, yeah, you know what, that's fair. But the thing about Steve-O is that his career peaked so long ago in the early 2000s that he spent the last 25 years coping with the fact that he's no longer relevant. I mean, this is the guy who genuinely thought getting a boob job would save his career. I'll get to that in a moment though, because like I said, Steve-O thought he'd hit the jackpot earlier this year when he won the Mr. Beast Celebrity Challenge. Except as it turns out, nobody cares. I mean, who knew?
And then coming into 2026, I was like, wow, I did this. I texted you. I was like, dude, I got on this Mr. Beast thing. I won the whole damn thing. I just thought, oh man, this is going to be life altering. And like it came in, like I had one kid come up to me in an airport and say, dude, you're Steve-O from Mr. Beast.
Like, life altering. He thought winning a Mr. Beast game show would be life altering. I think those game shows are maybe more life altering when it's the regular people one. I know he does two, right? Mr. Beast does one of those game shows where it's for celebrities, like influencers and shit and whatever. And he does another one where it's like regular people. I think when it's regular people, it changes their lives. I saw actually a clip the other day of some guy telling his wife that they won the show and oh my god, I'm going to get more time to spend with the kids now. I think regular people, but if you're a celebrity and you win it, do you really think it's gonna change your life? It's just another place to get exposure. It's just like, why wouldn't you take it, right? It's a good place to get exposure. You might get a viral clip out of it, of you maybe failing a challenge or saying something funny or get into a bit of confrontation or conflict with somebody. But I don't think you're going into it hoping you win and that's going to change your life. You hope it's going to maybe get you viral, get you spoken about on fucking social for a bit, but change your life. Mr. Beast Games. Come on, Steve-O.
And I was like, oh wow,
different generation.
But other than that, I thought it would be life altering, and it really wasn't. Whatever you want to call it, backlash, this thing. To me, it feels like the whole world hates me. When in reality, it's probably not.
No, reality, everybody feels about you the exact same way they did before.
Right? It's crazy, man. It's crazy because I'll walk around and think man, people look at me, maybe they hate me.
All right, hang on. First of all, credit to Steve-O for openly admitting that literally one kid in an airport cared about him winning the celebrity challenge. But the irony of this entire conversation is so fucking poetic. Think about it. We've got two of the worst comedians in the world sitting in a podcast studio while one of them complains that nobody cares about who he is anymore, while the other one comforts him with absolutely zero knowledge or interaction with the real world. Steve-O's getting the old don't read the comments pep.
That's a really good point. Steve-O's actually in the real world trying to navigate. I think he's being dumb, to be honest, and not being thankful and grateful for what he's had and just growing up and evolving and accepting that you're not going to have the same amount of attention that you did in the past because things move on. But Steve-O's actually in the real world. He's trying to navigate the real world. Rogan's in a bubble. He's always been in a bubble because he's the biggest person. Rogan can afford to not read the comments because he's the richest guy. He's got the biggest platform. He's got the podcast that everyone wants to be on. You can afford to not read the comments and just live in your bubble because you're the fucking biggest guy. It will change. It probably will never change because he's too old now. I don't really see it suddenly going away. But if the podcast started to really dwindle and he had to start to do some somewhat desperate things to get the podcast up and running again, he'd see how difficult it is out there. But I don't think he cares or acknowledges it because he's the biggest guy. You know what I mean? So he doesn't have to, he doesn't have to do what Steve-O is doing because he can, he's got a fucking Spotify contract. He's got a Spotify check probably still sitting in his fucking bank account. But that's a good point Podcast Cringe makes. One person's in the real world, the other person's living in their bubble of success that they've built obviously for themselves. It's just funny to see.
Talk from Slow Joe when clearly Steve-O needs to be reading the fucking comments. But it's even worse than that. The problem isn't that he refuses to read the comments. I mean, clearly he's reading them. He just doesn't like the solution. Obviously, if the solution to being an unfunny, overexposed, washed-up celebrity turned comedian is to disappear and do something else with your life outside the public spotlight, well, that's not the solution you want. He wants to be loved and celebrated.
This is Bert as well, isn't it? There's something about Steve-O is very Bertish. This reminding me of Bert. This type of energy. It's reminding me a lot of Bert.
like he was 25 years ago. So really what he's asking Rogan for is to help him become relevant again. And that's the uncomfortable truth that Rogan will never say, because the same thing applies to Joe himself. Like I said, it's poetic. Steve-O's cultural moment was Jackass on MTV in 2002. That's where the fame came from, and that's where it will always live. Those shows were pulling in 4.5 million concurrent viewers on cable at a time when there was no streaming, no social media, and no other competition for attention whatsoever. I mean, other than just going outside. That world does not exist anymore. Jackass Forever did well at the box office, but that was purely a nostalgic play. People wanted to see those guys do it one more time, the same way people go to see a band from the 90s do a reunion tour, and as Steve-O's career has proved time and time again, you can't rely on nostalgia to sustain you. I mean, just ask Bert Kreischer.
How old are you now?
51.
Yeah, that's too old for a boob job.
Yeah.
Even if you're a girl.
Yeah.
If you were here with a boob, with two giant boobs, I'd be like, I don't know what to say to this guy. This is so stupid.
You know who was into the idea, thought it was really funny, was Bert.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Also, he has...
I completely forgot about that period, and I ignored it until you mentioned it right now. I completely forgot about it. But there was a period where Steve-O was seriously considering. I remember this. He actually had plastic surgeons come on his pod. I'm pretty sure he had actual plastic surgeons come on his pod, and they're discussing it seriously. He went to a clinic. I think he got rejected by a few places, but he was seriously considering getting a boob job as like a bit. Not even because he's like secretly wants to be trans, right? Not because he secretly wants to be trans or something. Just because he wanted to do it for a bit to get more attention. He was so desperate for attention, so desperate for a viral moment, he was willing to go under the knife and get a boob job. Like, huh?
His own boobs. So,
Right.
It would actually be more admirable if he was like doing it because he was transitioning, right? He's always wanted to be a girl. He's felt it inside of him. He wasn't comfortable coming out earlier in life, and now he's older and he's got more money and he's feeling a bit more free. Fair. But just doing it for the attention is fucking insane. It is absolutely insane.
back and forth, but he's light now. He quit drinking for like 6 months.
Oh man, and
he had a little bit of a health scare. He's
good.
funny, man. He's a fun dude. It's just like he's another guy that is like a little overexposed. He does so much promotion and so much stuff, like you. You know, like talking about that thing where you get the negative feedback.
Yeah.
You got a lot of negative feedback for over promoting shows, but don't listen. Don't watch it. Who cares?
Right.
There's shit to be angry about in the world.
Sure.
But that's the thing. Isn't he proving the point though? If you over promote yourself, people are allowed to say you're over promoting yourself and you're annoying. It is the truth. And you also will end up, no, I don't think there's a normal sane minded person who doesn't get annoyed at, like even I do, right? And I'm not even as big as these guys. Even I get bored of the sound of my own voice. So I can't imagine how some of these guys don't ever get bored of the sound of their own voice. But you should be attuned to that with your fans. If they say you're overexposing yourself and you're doing too much and you're too much in their face, maybe step back a little bit. But a lot of these guys, especially some of these comedian types, they're not really in it for the funnies. They're not really in it for the jokes. They're in it for the attention. They actually like the feeling of standing on the stage, having everyone look at them, having everyone pay attention to them, getting recognized in the street. That's what they actually are in it for. Oddly enough, they're not really in it for the jokes or the sanctity of the comedy and shit. They're really in it for the attention. Like, who can I get attention today? So it's a funny predicament to be in. It's a really fucking funny predicament to be in. But I just don't understand for someone like a Steve-O, for all he's accomplished, like, why can't you just be content with what you have and what you've achieved? Like, honestly, like 51 years old and everything he's done, all the money he's made, and he's still trying to be relevant. He's still trying to be vital. Like, I couldn't imagine a more depressing state, a more depressing existence. Being 51, like it's like Callan, right? Trying to go viral on Instagram with your rants at 60. Nah, fuck that. I just, like, at that age, you should be just treating your craft like a job. You should be going in, performing, and then coming back home. I mean, you shouldn't be still trying to use hashtags and all that nonsense. Like, that's too much. That is just too much. After a certain age, that's very unbecoming. Using hashtags and trying to jump on viral trends and stuff like, yeah.
Bert Kreischer promoting a comedy special is not on that list.
Right. Let me run this by you.
Tall and funny scientist Joe Rogan is 100% correct. There are so many other things in this world to be angry about compared to Bert Kreischer's desperate attempts to stay relevant. You know, like the biggest political cover-up in history that's going on right now in front of our eyes in real time. But wait, it gets worse. So, the Riyadh Comedy Festival came up and they were talking about the backlash and how the comedians were restricted from making jokes about Islam, the royal family, and the Saudi government.
No, I want to talk about. I watched Brian Callen's special, very recent, at the Mothership. That's the thing about fucking comedy, is it's so subjective that, like, it's just, if anybody can shit on a special if they want. And I saw these, like, the YouTube videos, like, oh, Brian Callen's, this is the worst bomb, is gonna, like, end his career. And I was like, come on, like, let me watch this. I enjoyed the hell out of Brian Callen's special. I enjoyed.
Because people want it to suck. Like, there's people that think everything.
Rogan's hating this conversation. Rogan's hating this. Rogan hates it when people bring up videos. Rogan hates it when people bring up that side of YouTube on his show. Even though he probably watches it himself, Rogan hates it when people bring up that side of YouTube on his show. I thought he was going to mention someone. Yeah, watch this guy, American Redact. Like, Rogan hates this sort of stuff.
I think Chappelle's last special sucked. There's people,
oh my God! Can we talk about that?
I haven't seen it yet. Still.
Okay, but
I heard it was awesome.
The Riyadh,
from people that I trust.
The Riyadh Comedy Festival, apocalyptic nuclear bomb in the world.
Did you go to that?
I didn't. No, but like there was so much backlash from people who went to it, and then, dude, Dave Chappelle puts out this special and so unapologetic about him being at the Riyadh Comedy. It was just like,
you know what's actually more offensive about the Riyadh Comedy Festival stuff? It's the shock. It's the indignation some of these comedians have with the backlash. Like, surely if you accept a gig at Riyadh Comedy Festival, you know it's going to come with backlash. But you do it anyway because the money's too good to turn down. No problem. Take the money. But why are you acting surprised that people are surprised, annoyed? They feel, let's say, for lack of a better, it's a bit dramatic, but maybe feel betrayed that you did that and are calling you a sellout. Why was that a surprise? Like, that's the thing that doesn't make sense to me. Like, if it was me and I accepted the gig at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, it's like, cool. I'm doing it obviously for the money. The money's going to be too good to turn down. They're also going to offer you something that's too good to turn down because they want to convince you to go. Because they want you to be there, because they want you to help whitewash their country. Cool. It's a mutually beneficial agreement. You get an inflated fee. You get to, and they get to say, look how progressive our country is. We had this comedian performing here. But I just don't understand how these comedians kept going around as if like they were shocked, as if it was like beyond like understandable why people will be upset about it. It's like, come on, don't insult outer intelligence. Like, you know why people are upset. Or not even upset. You know why people maybe disagree or are calling you out because you did it. Because no one went as far as trying to get these guys cancelled about it. People just to say, no, okay, this person went, that person went. Just calling out people who kind of, put their morals to one side and picked up the check. That was it. It's not that deep. If you're the one that can't sleep well because of it, then that's your own problem. But just some of the fucking hand wringing and head shaking from these people that took this gig is just still to this day, it doesn't really make sense. It's like, surely you knew what was happening. Surely you knew though. But to be fair though, a lot of these guys probably don't think that far ahead. They probably just took the money and thought it was all going to be sweet. Or maybe some of them thought no one would fucking notice, right? No one would know they went there because it's fucking Riyadh, whatever. I don't know. It's all weird.
Like, it was so masterful.
He's a master. I get it. I get the criticism, and I get people saying, well, I'm going to perform for my audience, and my audience is over there. And if they say I think you can't make fun of the monarchy, you can't make fun of the leaders or the government, and you can't make fun of Islam. All right. Well, you got to decide then if you know what those parameters are. If maybe it doesn't fit with your act at all, or maybe you're like, I don't have any bits about the royal family,
Right.
or I could just go over and do my act for a bunch of people uncensored.
Right. Dave Chappelle, checkmated.
Of course.
the whole
He handles everything perfectly. And again, he's not on social media. He's not paying attention to people's opinions of him. You cannot, because there's so many people that have decided that he was a horrible transphobe for telling a story about his transgender friend. People didn't care because he made jokes about trans people. Of course, it's in the public eye. This idea that you can't joke about something is if there's a thing you can't joke about, that thing is f***ed up. And that's...
I like how Joe doesn't understand that it's not people saying that you can't joke about trans people. It's that people have had enough hearing Dave Chappelle joke about trans people. You can also, the fact that Joe doesn't understand that jokes can be run into the ground is kind of concerning. That's the really concerning, because as a professional comedian, he doesn't understand the concept of beating a dead horse when it comes to jokes. That doesn't exist. There's no such thing as beating a dead horse when it comes to a premise. You can exhaust it, which also maybe, you know what? That might explain why Rogan is so hell-bent on doing fucking stool fucking jokes and not letting that go. Maybe that kind of is an insight into his joke writing methodology, right? His joke writing philosophy, his joke writing approach. As long as I find it funny, there is no being a dead horse. If I find it funny, I can make it funny, no matter how many times I've done it before.
why the Lakota used to have a sacred clown. They called it a heyoka. And a heyoka was like a member of the community that was supposed to make fun of everything. If there's a thing that you can't joke around about, that thing has been compromised, right? Because you can kind of joke around about everything if it's actually funny.
Usually it takes Rogan at least 10 to 15 minutes to completely contradict himself, but this time it took less than 60 seconds. He literally went from defending comedians who went to Riyadh, even though they couldn't joke about certain topics, to defending comedians' rights to make jokes about anything they want as long as it's funny. And he said all of it with a straight face. I mean, seriously, give it a few minutes to breathe, Joe, before you make yourself look like a complete hypocrite. Give people a chance to forget, you know? By the way, speaking of Bryan Callen, my takedown of his comedy spy in Harland Williams, you know this is a man who is operating on a completely different frequency to the rest of us.
Dimitri, God, more preparation for this show.
Joe, it's Dimitri.
You're such a sick. Send you back to Canada for what you've done to me. Stupid. You had to see it's warm.
It's been in my groin for 2 hours.
He had this in his pants.
You won't touch the cauliflower this summer. You'll touch my groin more.
I'm not into plants, but I really like snakes.
So Steve-O's trying to keep up with this energy, you know, all edgy and shit, and so he decides to do a bit about ICE deportations.
Just because they're a certain race or a certain culture, you know, I don't care if you're from Canada, China, Russia, Mexico, wherever, there's a process.
Of course Steve-O would make fucking Harland Williams get serious, isn't it? Harland Williams is usually always silly, right? He sometimes can be sincere, but he's never this serious. Of course Steve-O would make Harland Williams get serious because he's spouting some nonsense.
I did it.
Right.
So I'm not going to sit here and pretend, ooh, you know,
right.
If I did it wrong and I got caught, I'd have the balls to go, okay, you got me, I'm going home. But I wouldn't do that to begin with because I respect the boundaries of every country.
Right, and why is it that so many people who don't have this respect that you have are murderers?
Say that again now?
There's so many of these people who are illegally in America. It's like the majority of them are murderers.
No, that's a fallacy. That's a huge fallacy. Okay. Think about it. Think about
bad hombres.
7 billion people on the planet. What percentage of those human beings in all cultures across the globe would you say are murderers?
Exactly.
Less than 1.1%. How many human beings wake up every day and go, I'm going to take the life of another human? It's such a small percentage. So to then say, let's say there's
Yeah.
Let's say there's 30 million illegals. To say that most of them are murderers, that's improbable. It's
Yeah.
probably, the reality is 0.1% of them are murderers. Now, they're bad people, they're murderers, so they shouldn't be here, but most of them are not.
Well, okay, fair point, but a great many of them are trafficking fentanyl.
Yeah, there's, look, when you're here illegally.
Oh, now we know why he went on Rogan, innit? Now we know why he randomly appeared on Rogan. He was sounding off on some of these right-wing talking points. Right, he was sounding off on some of these right-wing talking points. That's how he got on Rogan. Okay, that makes sense. Because it felt kind of random, him just appearing on Rogan. But now we get it. Now we probably get why Rogan got, he got Rogan's attention.
And you might not have the means to go through legal channels to work or find a way to feed your family or whatever. There might be a propensity for you to have to do illegal activity to feed yourself and keep your lifeline going. So that's more probable, but murder doesn't make sense. Yeah. It's just too. Most people don't murder. Have you ever murdered?
No.
That's so rough to watch. The best part is how Harland was like, bro, what? Steve-O got fucking fact-checked by Harland Williams on his own podcast.
Oh, big up Crack. I didn't see you. Sorry, brother. Big up Crack Fox. If you said that, apologies. That's literally what I said earlier. Apologies. I promise I didn't steal your take. Great minds think alike. Great minds think alike. No beef.
And that is not a flex.
Then I have Harland Williams on my podcast. Okay.
He's one of the weirdest, funny guys of all time.
weirdest,
This snake is on this desk because he kept it in his pants the entire episode, telling us that he had a tapeworm, and then he pulled it out at the end of the episode, and I've left it on the desk ever since. And when Trump was in here, I left it on the desk, and he got so excited. He goes, "Thanks for keeping Dimitri on the desk while Trump was in there." Like, he's just such an oddball.
He's so magnificent. Let's play with Harland Williams.
Okay.
At some point in the episode, I think at one point I said, how about politics? Just thinking to myself, this absurd guy, if you ask him about politics, like how does his absurdity, navigate that? Oh, yeah, well, all this shit with ICE makes perfect sense because the majority of immigrants are murderers, right? This is the most patently fucking absurd comment that I've ever made on the podcast. And yet, after it comes out, it gets clipped on its own. But it genuinely looks like I wasn't kidding.
Right.
And then...
Come on, now he's blaming the Clippers. Bro, you said, people who say things... I love this new trend of people, right? Where they say something outlandish on a podcast. They say something outlandish. They say a crazy hot take. It gets clipped because it's a fucking crazy hot take. And then they get surprised at people's reaction to their crazy hot take. It's really odd. Everyone does this. You said a crazy thing. You said a somewhat controversial thing. Somebody clipped it because what you said was insane. They shared it. Most of the public ain't gonna watch the full fucking episode to get the context. They don't care that much. They shouldn't care that much. And then he starts crying because people are now calling you names or whatever or harassing. Like, don't say the crazy shit then, innit? God damn it, man. If you're gonna say hot take, say it with your whole chest. Say the hot take with your whole chest. Be willing to accept whatever comes with it, whatever consequence, whatever comes off the back of it. Be willing to accept it. Not say the hot take and then cower behind somebody, run behind excuses, run behind PR. Come on, god damn. Or this, cope.
And I open up my phone and it's basically rotten hell uses that, you think all immigrants are murderers. Joe, I could not be more the opposite of that.
Right. You're being sarcastic.
I could not have been more I could not have been less serious. posted on my Instagram.
Okay.
Like for clarification, I said I can't even. I said I was so shocked to believe that this absurd comment that I made was like taken seriously. But like, just I can't believe I'm gonna have to do this. But for the record, less than 0.1% of the population is ever.
Exactly, be up crack fox. Exactly. Now Steve-O's gonna act like he's just clip farming. Nah, stand on business, Steve-O. The right's right. I spell his name wrong. Exactly. Stand on fucking business. If you feel that way about immigrants, if you feel that way about ICE, say it with your whole fucking chest. I just think, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Let me know if you agree, people. I think if you espouse right-wing talking points and you're cowardly about it, you're actually a pussy. In this era, it's probably easier to be right-wing or to have like MAGA sympathizing views than it was in the past. Like being MAGA, being right-wing before Trump got elected, that was real dicey. That was really dangerous. That was really risky. Walking around with a fucking red hat was really risky back in it, like before Trump's first, let's say, tenure, right? His first presidency. That was really risky. Now it's not so much. Now you wear a MAGA hat, no one looks at you twice. No one gives a fuck. But nowadays, if you want to have right-wing talking points or do that whole MAGA grift, stand on it, man. This is the easiest time to have these type of takes. Really, it's the easiest time to have these type of takes. But he's still shook. Oh no! It was just I was obviously being ridiculous. It's like, no, it wasn't. Say it with your whole chest, or don't say it at all.
Gonna commit murder. But if you want to know how I actually feel, if there's a group of people that's more likely to murder someone, it's ICE agents, and so then as soon as I post that, now like the whole other half of the world hates.
No, he's a bit annoying though. He's the opposite of Rogan. It's like his whole life is dictated by the comments. I did this, read the comments. What they say, okay. I do the opposite thing, read the comments. Okay, sometimes just do stuff for the fun of it and just keep it moving. He is kind of annoying. If Rogan's annoying for being the person that's like, I don't read anything, like he's above it, then this guy is also kind of annoying because it's like he reads everything. He uses the comments to guide literally everything that he does. Like you need to relax and not give the audience that much power as well. You can't let them know that they influence you that much. It might actually work against you, but he's gonna do what he's gonna do.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said that either.
Right, there you go.
Only someone like Steve-O could manage to piss off two completely separate groups of people in a single Instagram post. Alienated everyone on the left with his first half, and then alienated everyone on the right with the second half, and then stood in the middle going, I'm in a really shitty place right now. Yeah, you don't say. So now Steve-O is sitting in the studio, and he's trying to explain all of this to Rogan, and Rogan gives him the most Joe Rogan response you could ever imagine. You've just got to ignore all the mentally ill haters in the comments.
I think it's always better, like what you just did, where you said, like, maybe I did overreact, or maybe I shouldn't have done this, or maybe that's a stupid thing to say. Like, be much more real about how you feel about things.
Oh, I blew it, Joe.
Yeah, no, but I mean, but it doesn't matter, man. I'm telling you, this is all in your head. Everybody still loves you. It's very rare that someone who really loves you hates you. Like, if they do, they're usually mentally ill and they want to. Like that.
Right.
What?
There we go, guys. It wouldn't be a proper episode of
What?
JRE without Rogan referencing the mentally ill haters who leave comments. I've talked about
Jesus Christ. So, I'd love to ask Rogan, how can you not be mentally ill and leave comments? Or is that just a thing? If you leave comments, you're mentally ill. Is there a way to leave comments and not be mentally ill? Does that mean if you leave good comments, you're not mentally ill? If you leave bad, somewhat critical comments, you're mentally ill, I guess, right? That's the rule.
this in previous videos, along with Alpha Brain and Ice Baths, this is Rogan's go-to prescription for everyone who walks through that door with a bruised ego. Just don't read the comments. They're all mentally ill losers who work at 7-Eleven and have nothing going on in their lives. But when the comments are positive, suddenly they're no longer mentally ill. Suddenly they're fans just showing love. The mental illness apparently clears right up the moment the feedback changes. Funny how that works, huh? The uncomfortable truth for Steve-O is that his audience has moved on. They're all grown men now who have their shit together and they're living their lives, and the younger generations coming through don't know who the fuck Steve-O is.
Exactly. Imagine a Gen Z kid. Imagine Steve-O trying to appeal to a Gen Z kid. Come on, man. Like, we don't know who the fuck you are. Like, please, leave us alone. Leave us fucking alone, for fuck's sake.
And couldn't care less anyway. Who wants to listen to a 50-year-old washed-up cannonball complaining about why nobody likes him anymore? And the fact that he won a Mr. Beast challenge with over 100 million views, yet it hasn't changed his life, says it all. As for JRE, it's now just two guys who both peaked a long time ago, sitting across from each other, convincing themselves that they're still relevant. It's like a support group for middle...
Yeah, but yeah. Big up Steve-O though, I guess. Big up Steve-O. But if I was him, hang it up, be grateful for what you have and keep it moving, brother. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. It's not that deep.